Day in and day out. The same news on permanent repeat.
This is all so ridiculous.
This world is
rotten.
Death Note is a classic, one of those anime that transcends the medium, a psychological thriller that asks uncomfortable questions about justice, morality, and human nature. It's been nearly 2 decades since it first aired, and we're still talking about it, still debating it, still arguing about who was right, and at the center of it all is Light Yagami, Kira, the protagonist who became the villain, or the villain we mistook for a protagonist, a 17-year-old genius who found a notebook that could kill anyone whose name was written in it, and decided to become God. But here's what most people miss. Light didn't become a monster because of the Death Note. The Death Note simply revealed what was already there. It gave him permission, it gave him power, and power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. So today, we're going to dissect the mind of Light Yagami, not as a character, but as a psychological case study, as a warning about what happens when ideology meets narcissism, meets absolute power.
Oh, the results of the nationwide exams.
I've been waiting all day.
Here.
Goodness, #1 again. These are the highest scores you've had.
Yeah, I guess. I'm going to study in my room, so please don't interrupt me, okay?
As you wish.
Before the Death Note, Light Yagami was perfect. Top scores in Japan, athletic, handsome, popular, the son every parent dreams of, the student every teacher praises. But here's the thing about being perfect. It's exhausting, and it's lonely. Light didn't just excel, he performed. Every interaction was calculated. Every friendship was strategic. He wasn't connecting with people. He was managing them, playing the role of the perfect son, the perfect student, the perfect human being. And underneath that perfect exterior was something darker, contempt. He looked at the world and saw mediocrity, saw people wasting their potential, saw a justice system that failed, saw criminals walking free, saw corruption, inequality, suffering, and he felt superior to all of it. This is what psychologists call grandiose narcissism. Not just confidence, not just high self-esteem, but a fundamental belief that you are different from, better than, more important than other people. Light didn't find the Death Note by accident. He was already looking for something, a stage, a purpose, a way to prove what he already believed, that he was special, that he was meant for something greater.
The suspect just suddenly collapsed.
A heart attack? No way. It's coincidence. This has to be a coincidence.
When Light writes his first name in the Death Note, he's terrified. His hand shakes. He tells himself he's just testing it, that it won't really work. But watch what happens when it does work. When the criminal dies exactly as the notebook promised. He doesn't call the police. He doesn't destroy the notebook. He doesn't tell anyone. And this is the critical moment, the fork in the road. Because Light makes a choice, not out of justice, not out of righteousness, but out of opportunity. Within days, he's killed hundreds. Criminals around the world, murderers, rapists, terrorists, and he tells himself it's justice, that he's making the world better, that someone has to do it. But let's be clear about what's actually happening. Light isn't administering justice. He's playing God. He's decided that he, a 17-year-old with 0 legal training, 0 life experience, 0 accountability, gets to decide who lives and who dies. This is what's called a messiah complex. The belief that you are uniquely chosen to save the world, that normal rules don't apply to you, that your mission justifies any action, any cost, any body count. And here is the big question. I want your verdict in the comments. At what exact moment did Light cross the line from vigilante to villain in your eyes? Was it the first kill, or only when he targeted the innocent? Drop your theory down below. As Kira's kills spread, something interesting happens. People start to worship him. Crime rates drop. Criminals surrender. A cult of personality forms around this invisible god of death, and Light loves it. Not because crime is falling, but because he's being recognized, validated, worshipped. He declares himself the god of the new world, says he will create a utopia, a world without crime, where people live in fear of divine judgment. But let's examine this utopia, this perfect world Light wants to create. It's a world built on fear, where people behave not because they're good, but because they're terrified, where justice is decided by one person's definition of right and wrong, where there's no trial, no defense, no possibility of innocence, just death.
A I'll show the world what happens when you cross me. The entire world is watching. L. 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
And inevitably, Light starts killing innocent people. Lynd L. Taylor, the man who challenged Kira on TV, FBI agents investigating him, Naomi Misora, anyone who gets too close, anyone who threatens his mission. He tells himself it's necessary, collateral damage, the price of justice. But here's the psychological truth. Light doesn't kill these people because they're evil. He kills them because they threaten his ego, his image, his God complex. This is how ideology becomes pathology. You start with a principle. Crime is bad. Justice is good. But then you make yourself the sole arbiter of that principle, and anyone who questions you becomes an enemy. Not just of justice, but of the truth itself. Then L appears, the world's greatest detective, the only person who might stop Kira, and everything changes for Light. Because L doesn't just challenge Light's plans, he challenges Light's identity, his superiority, his godhood. Watch their dynamic. It's not just cat and mouse, it's two narcissists locked in a battle for intellectual supremacy. Light doesn't just want to survive, he wants to win. He wants L to acknowledge his genius, to admit that Light is smarter. This is the tragedy of narcissism. Even when you're winning, it's never enough. You need constant validation, constant proof that you're special. Look at how Light treats Misa. She worships him, would die for him, gives him her Shinigami eyes, cutting her lifespan in half, twice. And how does Light respond? He uses her, manipulates her, feels nothing for her except utility. She's a tool, a pawn. This is what psychologists call malignant narcissism. Not just self-obsession, but the active exploitation of others. The inability to see people as human beings with their own value. Everyone exists only in relation to you. But Light is only half of this equation. If you want the next psychological breakdown to focus exclusively on L's mind, show your interest. Hit the like button and subscribe right now. If there's enough support, the world's greatest detective will be our next target.
Now everything that was in my way is gone, and everyone else still believes in me. It's only a matter of time before I get rid of the police. What do you think of that, Elle? This is my perfect victory! That's right! I win!
When L dies, Light wins. He's defeated his greatest enemy. He's safe. He could stop, disappear, live his life, but he doesn't. Because it was never about creating a better world. It was about being recognized as the creator of that world. Years pass. Light becomes exactly what he once despised. He joins the police force. He takes L's name. He works within the very system he claimed was broken, playing the role of the ultimate detective while being the ultimate criminal. And he keeps killing. Not because he has to, but because Kira is who he is. It's his identity, his purpose. This is the sunk cost fallacy on a psychological level. He's killed so many people, sacrificed so much, that stopping would mean admitting it was all for nothing, that he's not a god, just a murderer. And when Nier finally corners him, when the evidence is undeniable, when there's no escape, Light doesn't confess, doesn't show remorse, doesn't break down. He justifies, he rationalizes, he screams that he was right, that the world needed Kira, that they're all fools for not seeing it. Even in defeat, he cannot accept that he was wrong, cannot see the thousands of innocent lives he destroyed, cannot acknowledge the monster he became. This is the final stage of narcissistic collapse. When the false self, the God persona, is shattered, there's nothing underneath. No real identity, no core, just rage and emptiness. In his final moments, Light runs. Wounded, desperate. He's not running towards anything, just running away from the reality of his defeat. And Ryuk, the Shinigami who's been watching this whole time, writes one final name, Light Yagami. Light dies alone, not as a god, not as a hero, but as a scared child who got lost in his own reflection. So what do we learn from Light Yagami? What's the psychological lesson in this tragedy? Power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. Light didn't become a monster because of the Death Note. The Death Note simply gave him permission to be what he always wanted to be, superior, unquestionable, divine. The most dangerous people aren't those who think they're evil, they're those who are convinced they're good, who believe their mission justifies any action, who see themselves as saviors while leaving a trail of bodies behind them. Light Yagami wanted to be remembered as a god, as the creator of a new world, as someone special, but history will remember him as what he truly was, a cautionary tale, a warning about what happens when intelligence meets narcissism meets ideology. When someone decides they're too smart, too right, too important for the rules that govern everyone else.
The Death Note asks a simple question: what would you do with the power to kill anyone? And Light's answer reveals something terrifying about human nature. Not that power corrupts, but that sometimes we were already corrupted. We were just waiting for permission. Light Yagami believed he was special, that he was chosen, that he was God. He was wrong. He was just human. And that's what made him so dangerous.